The race is on, and Jack McGrath leads going into turn 1. Bill Vukovich takes the lead on lap 6 and is followed by McGrath and Ruttman. Vukovich has led most of the race. He's followed by Troy Ruttman, who has swapped the lead several times. Vuki is on lap 191 and has led 150 laps. He looks like a sure winner. Vukovich's steering gives out in turn 3, taking him into the wall and out of the race. Ruttman inherits the lead and 8 laps later takes the checkered flag. Troy pulls into victory circle. He's congratulated by his chief mechanic, Clay Smith, and car owner, J.C. Agajanian, and becomes the youngest Indy winner ever. The 1954 Indianapolis race had a repeat winner. Billy Vukovich made it 2 in a row by winning the 38th annual race. Vuki was almost a lap ahead of second place Jimmy Bryan. Billy led for 90 laps and picked up a check for $74,934. The start of the 1955 Indianapolis race is minutes away. Jerry Hoyt will be starting from pole position in row 1. Tony Bettenhausen will start alongside Hoyt and could win. Freddie Agabation is in the second row. Bob Swikert is in the John Zink Special in row 5. Billy Vukovich is in row 2 and is favored to win his third 500. Jack McGrath led the first 3 laps. He swapped the lead 3 times with Vukovich during the first 70 miles. On lap 54, McGrath was forced into the pits with a broken oil line. Jack worked on it for several laps and finally gave up. George Sally tries to cheer up Jack. On lap 56, observers report an accident on the backstretch. Roger Ward is into the Wallen flipping. Johnny Boyd is rammed by Keller. Vukovich slams into Boyd, sending them into violent flips. Vukovich ends up outside the track. Ward, Boyd, and Keller escape serious injury, but Vuki died in the incident. The race is restarted and Bryan is leading Swikert in second. Bryan is still leading on lap 88, but his car is smoking and Swikert is on his tail. Swikert leads on lap 89 and Bryan is in the pits with a broken oil line. Jimmy reaches into his car for a cigar, shakes his head and redesigns the tail of his car with a swift kick. Swikert continues to lead. Swikert is on the last lap and heads for the checkered flag. A.J. Watson cheers him on. Bob Swikert takes the checkered flag and wins the 39th Indianapolis 500-mile race. Tony Bettenhausen was second and Jimmy Davies third. Dinah Shore plants a kiss on Swikert. Bob led 86 laps and took home a check for $76,138. Swikert gets another kiss from his wife, Dory.
The Hoosier 100 always draws a big crowd and pays a big purse. Jimmy Bryan took the lead on lap 72. Elmer George spun on lap 93. This was Bryan's 5th win of 1956. Jimmy was big and strong and could manhandle the powerful dirt champ cars. He finished 3rd at Sacramento and 2nd at Phoenix and won the national championship. Pat O'Connor won the Midwest Sprint Car Championship. Tommy Hinterschitz was the Eastern Sprint Car Champion. Shorty Templeman won the Midwest and National Midget titles. Open wheel star Johnny Mance won the Stock Car Championship. Sterling Moss won the 250-mile USAC sports car race in the Bahamas. The Indianapolis 500 was the first championship race in 1957. George Sally entered a revolutionary car, very low and sleek. The engine was laid on its side instead of standing up vertically in a normal manner. This allowed Sally to build the car with the new sleek design. Oh, George Sally.
Yes?
You being the builder of this champion, how could you possibly make the engine run in a horizontal position, lying on its side?
What difference does it make? The engine doesn't realize whether it's standing up or laying down.
What's the advantage of it lying on its side?
On the track with the engine horizontal, you will notice the hood is much lower, affording vastly improved visibility. Also, the position of the engine lowers the center of gravity, distributing stress and strain to all 4 wheels in the turns.
Thank you, George. Sam Hanks led 136 laps in the Sally creation, averaging 140.784 miles an hour. Hanks poses with Sally after the 500 as Sam announced his retirement from racing. He competed in 14 Indianapolis 500s. Brian crashed through the fence at Phoenix on the 96th lap while leading. After a quick 360, he drove back onto the track, regained the lead, and won the race and the championship. Bobby, Louie, and Jerry Unser were tough competitors. The Indianapolis 500 was the second championship race on the schedule. Jimmy Bryan took over the George Sally laydown and led the first 18 laps. Pat O'Connor was fatally injured on lap 1. Bryan led the last 24 laps and brought the laydown into victory circle for the second year in a row. Bryan was tired, dirty, but happy with his first Indianapolis 500 victory. Actress Shirley MacLaine was there to congratulate Jimmy and would have won an Oscar doing so. Bobby Unser won the championship dirt car division at Pikes Peak, averaging 53.992 miles an hour for the 12.5-mile distance. Jerry Unser and Bob Kortner died from injuries during practice runs at Indy. Johnny Thompson sat on the pole in the new laydown alongside Eddie Sachs and Jim Rathman. Thompson was favored to win. Ward took the lead from Thompson on lap number 5, leading for 8 circuits. On lap 13, Jim Rathman took the lead. Ward and Rathman swapped the lead several times. Pat Flaherty led 11 laps, but Ward dominated and won, averaging 144 miles an hour. Jim Hurtubise has shown passing Tony Bettenhausen. The changing of the guard was evident heading into the 60s. Hurtubise won his first championship race at Sacramento. A.J. Foyt was getting stronger every race. Parnelli Jones would join the new guard in 1960. Roger Ward was the '59 national champion. Jim Rathman leads Roger Ward at Indy, renewing the duel they had in 1959. Rathman took the lead from Ward on lap 25. Ward repassed Rathman on lap 38. After swapping the lead several times, Rathman made the final pass on lap 196 and won the race. Rathman drinks his milk and picks up $110,000. Because he never liked the racetrack, Ward decided to sit out at Langhorne.
Langhorne was a racetrack that I considered to be extremely dangerous. And more importantly, it was a circle. It was not the kind of a racetrack that you might normally like to drive. And frankly, I just never really felt very comfortable there.
The aerial pictures show Langhorne was a circular 1-mile dirt track. Jimmy Bryan took over Ward's car for the Langhorne race. He started next to Don Branson in the front row. Sadly, Bryan was fatally injured on the first lap. Jim Hurtubise won the 100-mile race. A.J. Foyt picked up his first championship win at DuQuoin. Bobby Grimm won the Syracuse 100-mile race. Foyt won again on the Hoosier Mile, his second championship win in 2 weeks. Eddie Sachs won the first race at Trenton in 1959 and also won the second Trenton race. He was a tough competitor. The Arizona State Fairgrounds was the last stop on the 1960 championship schedule. Foyt leads the championship by 120 points. Jim Hurtubise and Don Branson will be tough to beat. Starter Jimmy Jackson counts the cars to make sure the 18-car field is set. Bob Kleberg and Cotton Farmer will dictate the race for the start of the 100 miles. They head for the green flag and everyone charges into turn number 1. Foyt dives under Hurtubise on lap 25 and takes the lead. Cotton Farmer loses it in turn 4 and slams into the guardrail, sending him into a vicious series of flips across the rail. It looked bad for Farmer. Unbelievably, Cotton scrambles from his car and waves that he's okay. The crowd watches as Foyt heads to the checkered flag with Hurtubise on his heels. His pit crewman flashes him a sign that says it all. Car owner Bob Bose congratulates a tired, dirty, and very happy Foyt for winning the championship and the race. He was also crowned the Eastern Sprint Champion. Lucy Foyt gives AJ a winning kiss. Parnelli Jones took the Midwest Sprint Championship. Jimmy Davies captured the national midget title. Norm Nelson was the 1960 stock car champion. And Carroll Shelby won the road racing title. 1961 was the 50th year anniversary of the Indianapolis race. Popular Tony Bettenhausen was fatally injured while testing a car for his good friend Paul Russo. George Bignotti tries A.J. Foyt's car on for size. Eddie Sachs grabbed the pole for the 1961 race. Foyt had a tough battle with Eddie Sachs. Foyt led 71 laps and Sachs led 44. A.J. averaged a little over 139 miles an hour. Bobby Unser, a young lion new to USAC sprints. There were 24 sprint car events. In 1961, they raced from coast to coast. Jim Hurtubise and Wayne Weiler tangled at Terre Haute. Seriously injured, Weiler's USAC career was over. Parnelli Jones won the National Sprint Car Championship. A.J. Foyt picked up his second national championship. Paul Goldsmith, top dog in the stock cars in '61. Jimmy Davies became a two-time national midget champion. Ken Miles wrapped up the road racing championship in '61. Hurtubise gets off to a rough start at the Hoosier Fairgrounds. Elmer George has Chevy power. Bobby Grimm hams it up. AJ is in a good mood. Kerry Agajanian and Parnelli Jones. Jones and Hurtubise are in the front row for the start of the Hoosier 100. Hurt grabs the lead. Parnelli challenges from the high groove. Herc hangs on through turn 1. Parnelli rides the cushion and pulls past Herc in turn 2. Parnelli led 93 laps. Hurtubise fell back to 8. Jones lapped all but 2 cars, his first championship win in '62.
It's that time of year again. CRA starts the '63 season with a 2-day meet at El Centro. Alan Heath, the one-armed wonder known as the Splendid Splinter, gives the fans an exhibition of spinning. Bobby Unser takes the green flag for his qualification run. Bobby sets fast time for the day. Unser lines up for the trophy dash with Ed Lockhart, Russ Moyna, and Ray Douglas. Unser takes the lead, running the low groove. Lockhart spins out, taking Douglas with him. Restart. Alan Heath replaces Lockhart and jumps into the lead. Unser is giving it everything he's got, but Heath wins the dash. Car owner Vel Melitic congratulates his driver. CRA hot dog Bobby Hogle won the second day's trophy dash and explains how he intends to receive his trophy and victory kiss. New Bremen, September 9th. Foyt is back at the wheel of Watson's number 9. Parnelli is in need of a win to keep his point lead. In the fast heat, Foyt goes high to take the lead. McCluskey challenges on the bottom. Roger takes over first ahead of Foyt and Jones. McCluskey wins. Just time for a quick drink before the main event. Once again, the front row is made up of Jones and McCluskey. Chuck Booth takes over number 5. It's a fast field and anxious for the start. Jones goes to the top and takes the lead. It's Jones, McCluskey, Booth, Davis, and Elmer George in that order. Jones is long gone. Jim McElreath pulls out of the action. Joe Pittman shows Parnelli his lead. Rogers' crew urges him on. Jim Hemmings has a long way to go. Jones takes another win. McCluskey settles for second.
Parnelli Jones won the National Sprint Car Championship again. Jimmy Davies made it 2 in a row in the midgets. Roger Penske won the Road Racing Championship. Paul Goldsmith also picked up his second Stock Car Championship in '62. The 1963 Indianapolis 500 festivities started with Eddie Sachs being the first driver on the track in May. Parnelli Jones qualified for the pole again and is anxious to win. Bobby Unser qualified one of the Novis for the race. He'll start 16th on race day. Junior Johnson tried the Indianapolis cars and didn't like them. Troy Ruttman won in 1952 and could win again. Curtis Turner wrecked in practice. Jimmy Clark was part of the 2-car Lotus team. Dan Gurney was the other driver on the team. The 33-car field heads for the green flag and charge into turn number 1. Jim Hurtubise leads the first lap. Jones hot on his tail. Trouble in the middle of the field. Bobby Unser loses control and spins into the wall. He was out of competition. Parnelli takes the lead in turn 2. Bud Tingelstadt spins into the wall in turn 2 on lap 46. He's through for the day. Parnelli still leads on lap 63. Jim Clark took the lead on lap 68 and led 28 circuits. Eddie Sachs lost a wheel and crashed on lap 181. Jones is back in the lead. Jim Clark is second. Sachs rolls his tire back to the pits and waves to the fans. Roger McCluskey moves in on Jones on lap 198 and loses control in turn 3 while trying to pass. McCluskey finished 15th. Parnelli wins the race. Jim Clark is second.
From Terre Haute, the big USAC sprint cars. Your top qualifiers: 83, Johnny Rutherford; 12, Steve Steff; 56, Jim Hurtubise; 25, Al Miller; 8, Chuck House; 6, Jiggs Peters; 4, A.J. Foyt; 2, Roger McCluskey; 66, Bob Mathauser; 7, Don Branson. Out of the turn, down the straightaway. There's the green. Out of of turn number 1, Roger McCluskey in the 2 car takes over the lead. Jim Hurtubise in the 56 car, way wide, up into the marbles. The 8 car, Chuck Hulse, has moved into second place. A.J. Foyt in car number 4, now running third. Out of the turn, all running wide, looking for a better bite. Your leader, Roger McCluskey, powering through the turn, riding way, way high up on the high groove and moving away. The rest of the pack all looking for a groove. The leader in car number 2 with a 2-second lead over Chuck Hulse in the 8 car. The first 5 positions, 2, Roger McCluskey, 8, Chuck Hulse, 12, Steve Stapp, 56, Jim Hurtubise, 4, A.J. Foyt. Roger McCluskey in car number 2 still moving away. And look at this battle for 3rd and 4th place. Stapp in the 12 car on the outside. Hurtubise in 56 down on the pole. Through the turn, they're right together. Steve Stapp in the 12 car still in there for 3rd place. Out of turn 4, Roger McCluskey in car number 2, your leader, with a 5-second lead over 2nd place. Chuck Hulse in the 8 car. Jim Hurtubise lost 2 positions in the back straightaway and pouring on the coal, trying to make it up. There goes the engine and the 56 car, Jim Hurtubise, all through for the day. Here are the standings. 2, your leader, Roger McCluskey. 8, Chuck Hulse. 12, Steve Stapp. 4, A.J. Foyt. 7, Don Branson. Steve Stapp through the turn in the 12 car and Branson in number 7. The leader, Roger McCluskey, and Hulse in car number 8, closing it up. Out of the turn, A.J. Foyt in car number 4, working on the 12 car. He's after that 3rd spot. He makes the pass and takes over 3rd place. Here he comes through the turn. He's after Hulse in the 8 car. This is the final lap. Time is running out. There's the checkered flag. And your winner in car number 2, Roger McCluskey. McCluskey with a wire-to-wire win. From New Bremen, Ohio, the USAC Sprint Cars. Here are your top drivers. Number 7, Don Branson. 66, Bob Mathauser. Number 2, Roger McCluskey. 56, Jim Hurtubise. 3, Bud Tinglestead. 83, George Morris. 25, Al Miller. 9, Bobby Marshman. 11, Chuck Engel. 8, Chuck Hulse. Hulse, the last to be pushed to the line. A perfect lineup. There's the green flag, and we're racing. Out of the first turn, Roger McCluskey goes into the lead, followed by Bobby Marshman in the 9 car. In there real tight is Al Miller in car number 25. Out of turn 4, your leader, car number 2. Al Miller by Marshman has grabbed off 2nd place. Roger McCluskey pouring on the coal and moving away. Your 2nd spot, Al Miller in the 25 car. McCluskey very smooth here on the dirt half mile. Al Miller in car number 25. The 9 car, Bobby Marshman, holding down 3rd and starting to close. Here are the first 5 spots. 2, Roger McCluskey. 25, Al Miller. 9, Bobby Marshman. 3, Bud Tinglestead. 8, Chuck Hulse. Branson in car number 7, and he's found the groove. Chuck Hulse in the 8 car, moving up very fast on 3rd place, Bud Tinglestead. Your leader out of turn 4, in front of the grandstand. And Bobby Marshman in the 9 car, down on the inside, has moved into 3rd place. The race is really on for 2nd and 3rd place here in the main straightaway. Chuck Hulse riding the high groove in turn number 1. The first 5 positions, 2, Roger McCluskey. 9, Bobby Marshman. 25, Al Miller. 8, Chuck Hulse. 7, Don Branson. We're in the final laps, and the battle is still on between Miller and Marshman. Al Miller caps the wall, still running. There's a tangle in the turn. It's Marshman and Miller. And the 25 car makes it by. Jacals has moved into second place on the spin here in the last lap. The leader out of the turn, smoking very badly, takes the checkered flag. The winner, car number 2, Roger McCluskey.
"23 cars are on hand for Salem's August race. Parnelli Jones smokes the tires as he sets fast time in H.A. Foyt's Sprinter. Judd wishes this was dirt. Wow, did you see that? JR and Mario are great racing buddies. Foyt was racing in England and let Parnelli run his Sprinter. It's time for the feature. Jones and Branson head down for the start. Parnelli takes the lead. It's Jones' first sprint ride this year, and he still has the touch. PJ stretches his lead. Tingelstadt works on Branson. There's a spin in turn 2. Parnelli is running all by himself. Branson is still being dogged by Tingelstadt. 4th, 5th, and 6th fly through turn 4. Branson has pulled free of Tingelstadt. PJ smokes the right rear. Judd is 4th. Andretti wants by. Parnelli is on the last lap. It's an easy win for Jones. Branson finishes 2nd. Parnelli is still one of the best.
Jim McElreath takes us for a ride at DuQuoin. Foyt won 5 championship races and the national championship. Don White was the stock car champion in '63. Bob Winty won the national midget championship. Roger McCluskey won 7 sprint races and the championship in '63. He suffered serious injuries at Reading, Pennsylvania in the second race of the '67 season. The 3rd annual California 500 is the 8th race of the 1972 season. Jerry Grant is on the pole. Joe Leonard has won the last 3 races. Al Unser will start inside of the 2nd row. Andretti will start next to Unser. Foyt starts outside of Andretti. All have won the Indy 500. Al shows how multi-talented he is. Mario proves he's just as good as Al. These guys are really competitive. With a 90% chance of rain, the 3rd annual California 500 gets underway. It's 5 abreast on the start. Foyt surges ahead from his 2nd row starting position. Johncock falls in behind Foyt. Andretti, Unser, Leonard, and McCluskey follow into turn 1. Lap 2, Foyt brings the field out of turn number 4. The first 10 positions remain the same. John Mailer has dropped out with ignition problems. It's starting to drizzle, but no one is leaving. AJ looks like he's on a rail and still leads in his Foyt turbocharged Coyote on lap 25. A new entrant joins the race on lap 26, but he's going the wrong way. Actually, he was trying to get away from the wily Coyote. AJ is 2 seconds ahead of Andretti and Johncock. Unser and Leonard are 3 seconds behind Johncock.
Gordon passes Andretti on the front stretch and moves into second. Boyd's car lets out a puff of smoke on lap 27. Johncock is on his tail. He backs off to stay out of trouble. Boyd pulls down to the apron, and Gordon takes over the lead. On lap 39, the scoring pylon shows Mosley first. Andretti is close by in second. Vukovic took the lead from Mosley on lap 40 through lap 44. Bobby Unser took over the lead on lap 45. 6 cars have dropped out of the race. Andretti is towed in on lap 52 with a blown engine. Vukovic comes out of the pits on lap 56 just as Lee Koonsman blows a left rear tire going into turn 1. Lee tries to get out of everyone's way and heads for the infield. Johncock has led since lap 56. Bobby Unser is second. Bobby pulls out of the race on lap 73 with a blown engine. A rain shower lets loose on lap 77. The track was drenched and the race was red flagged. A helicopter was brought in to try to dry the track. The crowd patiently waited for the restart. Johncock, McCluskey, Mosley, Vukovic, and Hiss were all running strong when the race was stopped. The track dried quickly and the race was resumed. Johncock pulled into the lead as he roared into turn 1, followed by Revson, McCluskey, Mosley, and Mike Hiss. Mosley is second, Hiss third, Leonard fourth, McCluskey fifth. Sessions, Walther, and Pollard are in the top 10. Johncock still leads on lap 160. Johncock dropped out on lap 169 and McCluskey took the lead. Hiss is on McCluskey's tail. Roger only has 5 laps to go. Hiss is second, 1 lap down. Mosley lost his transmission on lap 195. He led for 23 laps. The crowd jumps to its feet as McCluskey heads for the checkers to win the 3rd annual California 500. He averaged over 151 miles an hour. 1 lap down, Mike Hiss finishes second. This was Roger's first 500-mile win. He was followed by Hiss, Vukovic, Sessions, and Mosley. It was a great accomplishment for McCluskey. Car owner Lindsay Hopkins, Julie Nixon, and her husband celebrate Roger's win. The purse, $131,000.
Jan Opperman is a natural on dirt. Bubby Jones, one of the best. Kenny Weld, a real veteran. Jim and James McElreath. Pancho Carter has a smooth, controlled style. Opperman is always confident. Bubby Jones will sit on the pole in the 1976 Holman Classic. A little water and it's time to race. Jones and Opperman are on the front row. Pancho will start 6th. Here they come for the start. Opperman is first, followed by Jones, Bigelow, and the Carter brothers. Jan still leads, and it's a real shootout back in the pack. Johnny Parson rides over a wheel. Opperman has command of first place. Pancho and Bubby are 2nd and 3rd. The groove is definitely on the top. Dana Carter challenges Jones for 3rd. Gary Bettenhausen drifts through turn 4. Caution on the track. Tom Bigelow loses a wheel. Jan is trying a new groove. Opperman has built up a nice lead. Pancho is still second and is giving his step sprinter a good ride. The track is hard and slick. Concentration is really important during the race, and fatigue is a factor in the last few laps. Chuck Gurney is in trouble and takes a nasty ride in his Seabird Special on the last lap. It's a mad dash for the finish, and everyone is trying to hang on to his position. Opperman wins and Carter is second. Jan stopped his car and ran over to help his friend Gurney. Luckily, Chuck was okay. It was an exciting race and Opperman was the crowd pleaser. Pancho watches as Opperman shows he's number one.
Bobby Unser won the 1974 National Championship. Andretti leads the DuQuoin 100-mile race. Steve Lotchaw slams the fence and endos out of the racetrack. He was uninjured. Mario won the race and the Dirt Championship. He went on to race in Formula One and credits his experience on the dirt for much of his success.
A lot of people thought all American drivers, they don't know how to drive in the wet. Well, that's one thing I wanted to dispel, just not only for my own satisfaction, but, I wanted to have some of these experts swallow some of their own words. And I felt that some of that car control that you obviously have to possess to be able to drive a dirt car and work with changing conditions applies to wet conditions. Wet conditions are forever changing, and so are dirt track conditions.
Legendary champions rose to greatness during the first 25 years of USAC. Drivers like Bryan, Ward, Boyd Jones, the Unzers, and Andretti, to name a few. In the 25th year of USAC, Johnny Rutherford won the national championship, Gary Bettenhausen was the dirt track champion, and Rich Vogler won both the sprint and the midget titles.
Boyd won the stock car and national championship and reflects on his career.
I guess I'd have to look back at really in my time. Roger Ward was very tough, before he quit on the dirt, very tough. But I have to go back to Parnelli, Jones, Jim Hurtubise, the three of us. I mean, it's a wonder that the way we raced so hard, midgets and sprints, it was lucky that one of us didn't lose our lives in a race car because we let it all hang out. So I'd have to actually pick them two guys over everybody else.
Bobby Olivero won the dirt championship in '79. The 32-race schedule for the sprint cars that year kept cameramen busy filming all the action, including Rich Vogler's spill at the Hoosier Mile. And Duke Cook's barrel roll at New Bremen, Ohio. The first most impressive driver in the second 25 years of USAC was Rich Vogler. Midgets were his favorite, and he loved to race the 1-mile ovals. Vogler puts pressure on Billy Vukovich III at the 1988 midget race on the Phoenix Mile. Rich won the race and the midget championship, making him a 5-time midget champion. He also won 2 sprint car titles. Vogler only raced to win.
I'm out there to win every race I run, every race I start, whether it's a heat race, semi-feature, feature event, even qualifications is a race, and I go out there to win every race that I enter.
Vogler's last championship was in the sprint cars in 1989.
Mesa Marin Raceway is in Bakersfield. Billy Vukovich is a veteran on this track.
We used to run here a lot back in 86, 87, and 88 with the super modifieds, and we probably ran 10, 12 races here a year.
John Redican and Vern Church set the pace for the start of the CRA Main. Rich Vogler is in the 4th row and is tough to beat on paved tracks. It's a little crowded on the backstretch. Vern Church smokes his tire and Vogler moves by on the inside and chases Wally Pankratz. Wally gets loose in turn 3, and Rich makes his move to pass. Wally hangs tough and holds on to his position. Vogler takes the lead. Rich heads for the checkered flag and wins another one on the pavement.
Pavement racing in general, especially the open wheel pavement racing, sprint cars and midgets, it's coming back. It was big in the mid to late 70s, and it died for a while, and everybody decided they want to go dirt racing, put their cars on dirt, and now it's coming back, and I'm looking forward to it. I think we put on good shows on pavement, and the guys don't have to work as hard when they go home to wash all the dirt off.
Allenzer won his 4th Indy 500 in '87 and is proud of his wins.
In my day and age, I mean, Indianapolis was the greatest spectacle in racing, as it still is today. Some drivers might not think it is as big as it is, but without Indianapolis, we still wouldn't have anything.
The last race at Ascot Park was the traditional Thanksgiving Day midget race in 1990. Stan Fox gives P.J. Jones a slide job. It's a drag race into the first turn. Robbie Flock is running a close third. Fox leads. Robbie has the edge on Jones. P.J. retakes second place. Stan is on the last lap and heads for the checkers. P.J. is second and Brent Kading third. It was an exciting last race at Ascot. Fox and Jones celebrate in Victory Circle as the fireworks spell out Ascot 1957 to 1990.
When this is the last one. It pays the best. We got a new track record qualifying, and Steve just pulled out all the stops. He gave me a brand new car, and we've been working on this program all year long.
In 1992, the Eldora fans witnessed an unbelievable 4-car spill involving Brent Kading, Gary Cameron, Ray Morgan, and Roger McLean on the front stretch. Eric Gordon races side by side with Rich Vogler. They touch going into turn 1. Jeff Gordon tries the inside in third. Eric leads. Jeff is moved into second and dives under Eric in turn 3. It's a 2-Gordon battle. Finally, Jeff pulls off the pass and wins the race. He won the 1990 National Midget Championship and won races in 3 USAC divisions. USAC started its Super Modified Series in 1985. Chuck Gurney, Davey Hamilton, Billy Vukovich III, and Ken Nichols all won championships. The cars were fast and spectacular. By 1992, the Modifieds were a special event at Phoenix International Raceway. Rebel Jackson won the race. Kenny Schrader won the 1982 Silver Crown Championship, the 83 Sprint Car title, and a total of 33 wins in 4 divisions. Schrader moved on also to a successful career in NASCAR. Doug Coletta won the 1994 Sprint Championship. His USAC career was short and spectacular. His goal was to race top fuel drag cars in NHRA, probably a wise move. Billy Boat was the 1995 USAC Western Midget Champion. He drove for A.J. Foyt in the IRL and sat on the pole at Indy in 1988.
Sammy Swindell is going to take us on a ride with him at Santa Fe Speedway during his qualification run. Take a deep breath and hang on. Sammy gets the front wheels off the ground coming out of turn 4 and back down just in time into the first corner. The front end is off the ground again on the backstretch. Sammy saws back and forth on his steering wheel while blasting through the turns. It's more the same for one more lap. Swindell rights it to the buzzer and picks up fast time. CRA returned to Eldora in 1991, and the Wingless Warriors charge into turn 1. Leland McSpadden is the leader, Frankie Kerr is second, and Jack Hewitt is third. The rest of the field jockey for position. Billy Boat pressures Kerry Foss for fourth. Richard Griffin falls in behind Boat, drives under him in turn one, and takes over fourth position. McSpadden continues to lead. Bobby Jones tries Boat on the inside. Boat's right rear tire blows, taking him into the wall. He coasts to a stop in the first turn. Jack Hewitt passes Frankie Kerr for second and goes after the leader, McSpadden. Hewitt is on McSpadden's tail and is closing fast. Coming off the fourth turn, Jack makes his move to take the lead. Hewitt slips in turn two, and both cars are airborne. McSpadden flips over the wall, and Hewitt stops upside down on the track. The replay clearly shows Hewitt sliding into McSpadden, sending both cars into a grinding crash. Luckily, both drivers escaped serious injury. Richard Griffin is the leader and heads for the checkered flag. Leland talks with some of his fans and explains that it was just a racing accident. He feels it could have been a lot worse.
Well, you know, it can always get worse. You could have been hurt. You know, racing's racing, and today's over, and now we go tomorrow.
The road to success in winning championships includes detours, speed bumps, and sheet time. Brad Knopfsinger thought he was on the road to fast time while qualifying for a sprint car race at Terre Haute. Instead, he collected a large speed bump and took a detour out of the ballpark. USAC, the leader in driver safety, mandated roll cages, fire restraint driving suits, arm restraints, and many other safety measures to ensure driver safety. Ricky Shelton survived this crash. Sometimes those bucking Broncos have equipment failure, like blown tires, broken suspensions, and blown engines. The driver has to hang on and ride it out like Kevin Thomas at Terre Haute. Driver error plays into crashing. Riding over the cushion usually means danger ahead, as it did here for Al Woodall. Beware of other drivers. Donnie Beechler gets a bump from Andy Mishner and rolls down the front stretch. He was shaken but not injured. Sprint cars are like rocket ships and like to lift off. Greg Stevens lifted off and flipped all the way down the backstretch at Kokomo. Stevens was seriously injured in the crash but recovered quickly. Kent Christian and Brad Marble make contact. Marble is launched high into the air. Racing is definitely a contact sport. Jim Keeker makes contact and lifts off at IRP. When you see trouble up ahead, not making contact is important. When making a move to pass, it's important to clear the guy you're passing. Johnny Parsons III experienced the dreaded contact experience at the 16th Street Speedway. Rick Mears won his fourth Indy race in 1991. Rick always had a game plan.
I always went with the same game plan, you know, run the first half to get to the second half. Stay out of trouble, stay in touch, work with the car, work with the team, and you know, adjust on the car to get it the best it'll be for the shootout at the end, if there is one.
Tony Stewart was the 1991 Sprint Series Rookie of the Year. In 1993, he drove a midget for Raleigh Helmling at the Hut 100. Tony qualified for the pole and beat everyone to the first turn at the start. His biggest challenge came from Stan Fox. Tony won the race for happy car owner Helmling.
This is our first USAC win with Raleigh Helmling in the Crystal Pepsi Midget this year, and the second one here at Terre Haute, so we're real happy about this.
Stewart took a wild ride in his Silver Crown car at DuQuoin in 1993. He flipped 5 times, destroying his car. Luckily, he was okay.
Well, cheese weenies run on the bottom. Stewart and I here, we run the top.
Tony took the top at Terre Haute and probably should have run with the cheese weenies on the bottom. Stewart prepares for a sprint race at Winchester in 1995. Tony started last in a qualifying heat race and displays his passing skills on the high banks as he jockeys for the best place to pass. He got by 2 cars on the inside and has Jason McCord and Greg Staub in his sights. Tony dives under Staub and passes for the lead. Tony won 7 sprint races in 1995 and clinched his first sprint championship. His first USAC championship was in 1994. He won the midget title driving for Ralph Potter. He switched cars in 95 and won the championship for Steve Lewis. Stewart's bid to win 3 championships in 1995 was a real challenge in the Silver Crown division. Both races at the Hoosier Fairgrounds were a disaster, crashing in the first one and falling out of the second race. Tony never won a Silver Crown race during the season. His constant top finishes won him the championship by 2 points. Tony signed with Joe Gibbs to drive for his NASCAR team in 1996, but continued to race selected USAC events. The Copper Classic was one of his choices. Steve Lewis brought 3 cars, all number 9 in 1997. Stewart 9X, Kenny Irwin 91, and Tracy Hines number 9. The race winner was 9X, Tony Stewart. Tony loved the dirt and chose to run a sprint car at Eldora in 97. He was moving through the pack on the south side with cars running 3 abreast. The inside car drifted up, causing a crash that sent Stewart into the wall, destroying his race car. He was uninjured. Later, he finished second at Belleville and won at Beaver Dam, Wisconsin in the midgets.
I think he's just an extra special driver with a tremendous amount of talent. I know when I talk to him, the only thing I get out of him is that he loves to race.
Tony won the Indy Racing League Championship in 1997.
The dirt track racing, it's a part of my career that's starting to fade in certain ways, but I think that everything that I learned running on the dirt is really what's helped me get to where I am today.
Ryan Newman was 17 years of age when he won the Midget Series Rookie of the Year in 1995. He raced midget sprints and Silver Crown. Winning the 1999 Silver Crown title was his biggest accomplishment in USAC before going over to NASCAR. Jason Leffler started driving USAC midgets in 1994. He was on a learning curve and not crashing was part of it. He learned not to jump the cushion at Ventura. Leffler won the midget championship 3 years in a row, 1997, 98, and 99. He also collected the Silver Crown Championship in 98.
The Silver Crown Series is a great series. It's the heaviest car of this type of race car, and long races, so you have to learn to conserve your tires and run the car straight. The Busch Series is really, really competitive, and I haven't driven too many heavy race cars, so it's going to be a big step for me.
Casey Kane won the 2000 Midget Championship and moved over to NASCAR. Wally Pankratz won the 2000 Western Midget Championship. He raced with USAC for more than 2 decades. Tony Stewart returned to USAC to race sprint cars at Sun Prairie in 2002. Tony was leading a new kid on the block by the name of J.J. Yaley. He challenged Stewart for the lead up in the high groove. They raced side by side down the backstretch. J.J. got the advantage in turn 3, and he served notice that he was going to be tough to beat. J.J. was the 2001 Silver Crown champion and 2002 Sprint Car champion, climbing to the top of his profession. J.J. won the 2003 Silver Crown and Sprint Championship and topped off the season by winning the Midget Championship as well, equaling Tony Stewart's success in 1995. The last race of the Indiana Sprint Week was at the Action Track in Terre Haute. Yaley started 10th and charged through the field on the first lap. He was up to 3rd on the backstretch and took the lead going into turn number 3. JJ was the Indiana Sprint champion in 97. Yaley won a midget race in Milwaukee earlier in the day, and he went on to win this sprint race with ease. Yaley signed with Joe Gibbs to run in NASCAR and explains what he learned in each USAC series.
It gives you a sense of all the things that you need to know, you know, just not all the same series. With the midgets, you have to learn how to keep momentum in the race car, keep the car straight. You know, with the sprint cars, it's a little bit more of, you know, just controlled chaos. You have so much horsepower to weight ratio. You really have to get the feel for what it takes to keep the tires underneath the race car as far as wheel spin. And with the Silver Crown division, because you're racing on larger racetracks, you get used to the speed, the ability to have to try to save your race car, save the tires because the race is being 100 miles. And, you know, all those little things put into one big thing. If you can master all three of those, it's going to make your step a little bit easier to the next level of racing.
Corey Kruseman races in the midget, sprint, and Silver Crown divisions. He won 2 of the Indiana Sprint Week features in 2004. Corey was the 2002 Indiana Sprint Week champion. The 34th annual Holman Classic gets underway at Terre Haute. Jay Drake pulls ahead in turn number 2. Drake is closely followed by Kruseman. J.J. Yaley passes Levi Jones for 3rd. Kruseman slides under Drake and takes the lead. Yaley is still running 3rd. Corey won the Holman Classic. He won 5 races in 2004. Drake and Tyler Walker start from the front row of the 100-mile Silver Crown race at Tulsa. Drake gets a little jump at the start. Walker has a full head of steam and passes for the lead. The track is slick and dusty, passing a real challenge. Walker leads by 10 car lengths. Drake, Tobias, and Kading follow. Tyler won the race. It was his 3rd Silver Crown win in a row in 2004. And always the showman, he does a backflip. As an added feature, he gives the crowd his version of breakdancing. Walker also competes in NASCAR. Teammates Tony Hunt and Brian McClish start from the front row of the sprint car feature at the Tucson doubleheader. McClish takes the lead. Hunt is second. Like a swarm of angry bumblebees, Aaron Pierce, AJ Fike, and Bobby East attack high and low. Pierce gets by on the inside. East and Fike continue the attack. East slips by for 3rd position. Pierce takes the lead from McClish. East ducks under McClish and goes after Pierce. East pulls alongside Pierce as they race side by side in turn 3. Bobby East is the new leader. Rick Hendricks, Destiny Hayes, and Greg Taylor all want the same real estate. Hendricks gets by, but Taylor and Hayes collect the wall. Bobby East is still the leader. AJ Fike is 3rd and Tony Hunt is 4th. Hunt challenges Fike. Tony moves into 3rd position. Hunt passes Pierce for 2nd. Bobby East heads for the checkered flag. East will join NASCAR in 2006.